All right, folks, welcome back to Rap Roll Call. This is our Tribe Called Quest special. We had this idea after Tribe released the video for Space Program a couple weeks ago, last month.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, the final A Tribe Called Quest video ever.
Yeah.
And it brought, sorry to use this word, all the feels.
Yeah. Punch right in the feels.
Yeah,
the
definitely. For somebody who's, grown up, or for both of us who've grown up listening to A Tribe Called Quest, it's kind of a rewarding kind of close,
fitting.
Yeah.
It's fitting.
But it's also sad as fuck.
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't know.
Yeah, it was
kind of an emotional roller coaster of being proud of where Tribe has come and gone.
Yeah.
And kind of the post Phife years now, but also just sad as shit that it's over. But then again, realizing yeah,
that's it.
It's got to be over.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. It
How
was
much can you milk it now, so.
Yeah, it was a weird sort of finality to. I think I said it the first time we watched it. When they sort of disappeared, 15 plus years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They put out the Love Movement and they just kind of went away and nobody knew what happened and
right.
No real explanation. Rumor and all this stuff that, pre-internet, so
yeah,
there wasn't this rumor mill and people weren't, 24/7, and I think it was kind of I think I equated it to a loved one going missing, but with no knowledge of where they went or what happened to them.
Right.
And then,
or at least as a composite body.
Yeah.
Q-Tip here and there, some production work, guest vocals.
Yeah.
Phife Dawg would pop up too.
Yeah, Phife put out
yeah.
I think at least an album in that time.
Yeah, he put out an album.
He did a lot of stuff with Dilla.
Yeah.
But.
And I think before this most recent album came out, We've Got It From Here.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I had seen physically was Phife Dawg's dedication video for Dilla.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that was kind of punch in the face out of nowhere. That good punch in the face.
Right.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. That was a really good video too. That was such a great blend of sort of pain, good homage, and kind of cracking jokes at himself about trying to keep his diet in control. Clearly not that funny now, to see it, but being in the hospital bed, people taking donuts out of his hands while he's trying to eat them, dope beat too. Everything was really good about that. But Rappaport made the
documentary.
The documentary.
That was
2012.
Okay, I was gonna say
2013.
13. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, something like that. And they toured from time to time. You'd see them pop up. They would play shows here and there,
big festival kind of things, same as Outkast has been doing.
Right.
Make the big, big features that.
They would show up, but then just to have it all sort of culminate with album coming out, Phife dying.
Yeah.
And then with this,
I could tell a lot of time had passed, and that, I don't know, maybe there was something different about my childhood versus other hip hop heads, because I was actually in a hip hop class the day in the semester, surrounding Phife's death, and our teacher made an announcement. He's like, I don't know if any of you heard this morning, but Phife Dawg, Phife Dawg,
right,
from A Tribe Called Quest died, and no reaction. And we took a moment of silence for about 2 or 3 minutes and went back and watched some videos and stuff. And apart from me, my teacher my teacher and I, nobody knew,
Right.
or really gave a shit for that matter.
Yeah.
And these are all kids my age or a little younger. I was born, dating myself, in the early '90s.
Right.
So, granted, I was a little young for Tribe Called Quest, but
I mean, they're classic.
yeah,
They're. I think we talked about this when we first saw the video too. There's like, I think watching them sort of like pass through history now.
Yeah.
And sort of become now this like piece. This like now they're sort of this like article. That people just go back and reference rather than new creation. There's nobody else like them. Like there hasn't been anybody else really ever like them, but there's definitely, it's not like people, I think on like a broader like topic, that maybe even like transitioning into a discussion about like what was so appealing about them, but like Native Tongues, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest was like such a different style of like what you heard.
Yeah, and Arrested Development.
Yeah, like during that time period.
So all these guys like starkly contrasted with, this is the early mid '90s with gangster rap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was not, they were not making radio jams, and the stuff that was on the radio still, I mean, it was like funky and jazzy and like, I would say like pretty Afrocentric
definitely.
In a lot of ways, and also like goofy.
Yeah.
Especially like, I don't know, De La might be like, shame on you, but like, things like 3 Feet High and Rise, like they're clowning.
Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of clowning there, and I'm not saying they weren't taking themselves seriously, but they were.
But same thing with Tribe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But there was like definitely a different feel, like a sort of a bohemian. They represented a street culture, but it definitely was not the street culture that was being pronounced.
Yeah.
And like played all the time.
And it was bringing the fun back, but maybe not taking it as seriously as their predecessors.
Right.
I think Grandmaster Flash, Bambaataa, all those cats also had like a fun kind of, East Coast sound that you do see carried over into Tribe and other groups, but they took themselves a lot more seriously with their like kind of like a machismo take on like Afro funkadelic sound,
Right.
Whereas Tribe and De La, they have the vibe, but it's loose.
Yeah. Well, they were also, consider themselves the creators of this whole like music and culture that went along with it. Where I think things like Tribe, De La, they tried to inject some like youthful exuberance in it, and
it's definitely youthful.
Take out a lot of this, a lot of the like hood and goon and like street feel, while still speaking upon that and still being like socially aware and conscious, but also just like having fun with things.
Yeah.
I mean, like Left My Wallet in El Segundo, like it's such a like hilarious, like just a giant road trip to a place down in Mexico and then a return to that place to get a wallet back. That's it. The whole story arc of a song.
Right.
And it's awesome. Like, it gave like such a, I think, like a touchable, feelable place for me as far as like rap music went, where it was like, oh man, you can be kind of like a weird sort of artsy skater, like you don't have to be straight out of Compton.
Right.
I mean, not to sound cliche, but like you didn't have to be, and still like listen to the music and still like enjoy what they were trying to say. And yeah, it's, you don't see that anymore. I mean, there are like groups, there are like acts here and there. I'm not saying that it's
Mhm.
not like injected with like a new feel or, but I almost would argue that like we've experienced, I think, a lot of trauma as a country, and I think there's been a lot of like stuff that's gone on, especially in the world of rap music, that has like attempted to capitalize and commercialize and stripped. I mean, we're talking about a group that was pretty like unplayed comparatively to like major acts, but they were signed to a major label. They weren't like an underground group. Q-Tip is pretty well known, even outside of like music, like fashion, all kinds of stuff like that. And now, I feel like you have to take sides. You have to like pick. You're either sort of like mainstream, and not fully maybe, but like there are very few people that can like kind of ride that line.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe like that would be like sort of a Kendrick conversation.
Yeah.
Like a Joey I don't know, but you just don't see it. They broke the mold, I guess, on that one, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, not to sound like ephemeral in any way, but they even this last album, thanks for your service, like it still had such Tribe feel to it. Like even 20 years on, like it didn't feel like they were trying to
besides some of the like modern or contemporary references,
right.
It's hard to like audibly notice a gap between that and the Love movement.
And that's the thing, I feel like it sounded really updated, but not updated in the sense of it wasn't trappy.
They weren't pulling in a completely new sound.
But I feel like artists do that, where it's like, oh man, well, we've been out, so we better try to like, what are the kids listening to? Like,
I even felt that way with De La Soul and the 2 Chainz feature.
That's a perfect example. Like even they have not necessarily been able to capture that feel and that sound that they had 20 years ago, almost.
Like I don't feel like that album, what was it, The Anonymous Nobody? Had that like cliche or stereotypical like De La Soul sound to it. Like if you just kind of played it to somebody in a vacuum without any context, would they pick up on, I don't know.
No, I mean, I agree with you totally. I mean,
so thanks for your service. We got it from here. Definitely ended the era on a strong note, but also kind of just, I don't know.
That's it.
Just the whole picture thing.
It like, we're talking Tribe, so I don't know. That's a really good album. Like, it's really, like, it's definitely still not my favorite album, but, like, they, there was a lot of controversy in the sense that they, like, really got no award or acclaim for that album. And comparatively, like, being pioneers, people still sort of passed over it with, it was really good. I mean, it doesn't necessarily still stack up. I mean,
what's your favorite album?
Low End.
Low End Theory.
Low End Theory, yeah. I mean, what is yours?
Beats, Rhymes, and Life. That was my very first taste of Tribe. One of my mom's buddies burned it for me probably in 1997, 1998. And I had never heard anything like it before. I had been listening to some Eric B. and Rakim, Arrested Development. He was kind of just gradually introducing me to hip hop. And this stuck with me like the classic album of my childhood. yeah, it goes a long way for me. I don't even know how to like vocalize like the role this played in like my elementary mid school years when everyone else was getting into 50 Cent or Baby Bash or whatever the fuck, The Game and shit.
Right.
And I just have like phony rappers playing in my head.
Which is funny because it's so...
Yeah. It was a fitting kind of perspective to hold. But yeah, and I had never... And the cool thing about music during that time period for me, we're talking pre-internet, a few minutes ago, was pre-internet. So your imagination played a huge role. I had no idea what these guys looked like.
Right.
I had never seen any kind of videos or pictures or read anything in a magazine. None of my friends knew anything about A Tribe Called Quest or gave a fuck. So it was all just me and this album in my imagination, like picturing like these subway scenes and just picturing like scenarios that I myself would never be in growing up in the fucking desert in New Mexico.
Right.
But also just relating to the cool jazzy feel of it and like just the genuine, honest lyricism. Even as a little kid.
Yeah.
It wasn't until much, much later when I was a teenager that I was, backtracking and like researching a lot of these groups I grew up listening to.
Yeah.
And also finding out how unplayed they were by that point.
Right.
I definitely don't want to use the term irrelevant because Tribe is always relevant in hip hop history.
Right.
And same with Eric B and Rakim and Arrested and everybody else. But yeah, it's funny to think back about just being a little kid and like it's just this CD, And nowadays when we're talking new album releases, we're like, did you see that Instagram picture?
Yeah.
Did you watch the video? Did you see that trailer? Did you read that interview? I heard this happened, and then something about his personal life and his baby mama.
Yeah.
Like none of that when I was introduced to hip hop as a kid. It was just like, listen to this shit, turn off everything else, close your door, put this on your Walkman or on the stereo.
Yeah.
And that's just as real as it got for me.
Yeah, I mean, so when I heard Low End Theory, that was the first thing I heard. I hadn't heard People's Instinctive Travels, Paths of Rhythm, but I was probably 11, and I think Low End Theory had been out for probably 2 years at that point, something like that. And man, it like blew my mind. Like I like wore out the tape because that was a thing that you could do. I wore out the tape. Like I like listened to Bugging Out. So like, I mean, I'll still, if I'm alone in a room, kind of like LL Cool J, I'll stare at the wall. But I will then just rhyme right along with Bugging Out.
Totally.
What scenario? Like, it's funny, those first like 4 albums, including Beats, Rhymes, and Life, like, they're all just front to back playable.
Yeah.
There's no skippable tracks on those for me. But it's funny that when I heard Beats, Rhymes, and Life, I was like, oh man, this like feels overproduced or something. Like it had somehow gotten away from, and I don't feel that way now, but I feel like I consumed so much Tribe, like just with like Midnight Marauders and People's Instinctive Travels and Low End Theory, that like when I heard that I was like, oh, it just seems like polished. And it has like this weird, like almost like radio sound, and like Faith Evans is on track, stuff like that. Yeah. And that's a great track, like Stressed Out, like so good, like the whole thing. Once again, like now, wouldn't skip it. I mean, now I wouldn't even skip stuff in the Love Movement. When Love Movement came out, I was like, what what is this? There was like a weird moment where when I first heard it, like I only liked probably half that album.
Yeah.
And like I've gone back and listened to it and really like I think appreciated like what that held, especially knowing now like what was probably happening internally in the group, and to like still get that done and like make it sound the way they made it sound. I mean, in a weird way, it's almost like Phife was kind of like already, like they were both sort of checking out away from each other, you know, like, and the fact that they were able to piece something together, presumably not with a lot of like in the studio time between the two of them. But yeah, Low End Theory, there's like not a track on that album that like when I can hear like little moments and I'm immediately just like, wait, what? Yep, I can just go. Like,
yeah, that's one of those albums where it's almost hard to separate it track by track in my mind.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one piece, like one cinematic chunk of Tribe.
Yeah, it's so good. Do you want to stop it real quick? A group and a sound that I would like push on people, like let them know about, it would be Tribe. I think if there's like a go-to, like, you know, we've talked about this before, but like Wu-Tang was like definitely like pretty world-changing for me as far as like sound, but I think as far as something that I can like always go back to and with like a catalog that never fails. And I think that with a sound that is never duplicated, I mean, there have been attempts at it, and I think there's like moments where people try to get into that like jazzy, funky, rhythmic place, but I don't think anybody has done it to the tune of Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, just thinking about like what they've brought to the world of music. I mean, what Q-Tip has done just for other artists as well. Like looking at it like big picture. I mean, I don't know. Like, you tell me like what you think, if there's like other, you know, you just don't hear that sound anymore. Right. And I think it's one of those that like, you know, there's a big conversation going on right now, I think, of like ghostwriting and like top MCs and all of that kind of stuff. But like when you look at sort of the few out there who've really like DIY'd it and like been original about it and can still like lay claim to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the real value of Tribe is that now and then and forever and whenever they're in their own lane.
Yeah.
There are other hip-hop groups from that era and from earlier and later eras that are just as dynamic and important to the bigger picture of hip-hop culture and hip-hop history.
Yeah.
But they're separate. It's not Tribe versus anybody else.
Yeah.
It's not Tribe versus Public Enemy or Tribe versus Outkast. It's really just a Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
And a lot of hip-hop that we examine nowadays, and that we talk about in general in this channel, we're looking at the competitive nature of artists and groups.
Yeah.
How does this artist, this group, this album stack up to this other thing in the same category?
Yeah.
Whose name is coming out of whose mouth?
Right.
And it's not like that with the Tribe Called Quest. Like when I'm looking at Tribe's work, it's just kind of isolated and complete in and of itself without needing to, be soaked in, cross-reference or, analysis or comparison to anybody or anything else. And that's beautiful. That's super important.
Yeah, that was like a really eloquent way of.
Yeah.
It's very true. They're pretty uncomparable.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, sort of in summation, there are a lot of Tribe fans out there. I think from previous portions of this conversation, there are a lot of non-Tribe fans out there. Maybe they just don't know.
Right.
Maybe they haven't, been exposed. Maybe it's just not where their ear is, but you're doing yourself a great disservice, I would say, by not, opening your ear and playing those albums. Just play them through, put them in the background. I don't know. You don't have to sit and intently, listen to every word that's coming out of their mouths.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is I'm not trying to read them philosophical text either, or deconstruct every bar or every verse on every Tribe song.
Right.
It's
a lot of times it's very literal.
Yeah, and easy listening.
Yeah.
But not in this oversimplified, catchy, toony, poppy kind of way.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah, listen to them.
Lots of fun. Sad to see them go, but it's everlasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will always have what we have. So, if you guys ever see this, and I'm speaking to you, A Tribe Called Quest, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thanks for your service.
Yeah. We've got it from here. Yeah.
All right, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. We'll have some more videos and a playlist over here. Feel free to watch those. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Rap Roll Call.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell for notifications. What else can they do?
You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, all at Rap Roll Call. Hopefully you liked what we're trying to do, going back a few videos, trying to lengthen it out a little bit, more of a conversational thing, not letting time get in the way of the things that we want to talk about. So we're hoping that you like that, but let us know.
Yeah, leave us some feedback in the comments below.
Yeah, let us know. You can come fight us on Twitter. You can come fight me in real life.
Fight him in real life.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, thanks folks.
Thanks for watching.